Okay.
Back to regular session. In executive session, the commission discussed several pending litigation. We got status updates from councils relative to where we are in those matters. Obviously, no decisions were made, but for informational purposes only. So we're going to continue with our agenda. Item 2 on today's agenda is commission election. Do we have any nominations? Commissioner Raymond Williams?
Jamil, you have to take him off from mute.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, I move that David Hughes be nominated as chair and Laura Nichols Sams as vice chair. So move. For the ensuing 2026 calendar year, that is.
Are there any other nominations?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I'd like to nominate Laura Nichols Sam for chair. And Mr. Hughes for vice chair.
Who?
So there are two slates, one for David Hughes as chairman with Laura Nichols Sams as vice chair, and the other for Laura Nichols Sams as chair, and basically the reverse, and David Hughes as vice chair. Roll call.
Mr. Chair.
Point of how do you vote on? You got to vote on one nomination at a time. You can't do both because you have two separate nominations before you.
Mr. Chair, I second Commissioner Williams' motion.
Okay. Second, Commissioner Williams' motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, so Commissioner Sams seconds Commissioner McGrath's motion. All right, so Commissioner Williams, you're suggesting that we do one at a time? That's fine.
You can't vote. You can't unilaterally do two different things. You got to do one motion at a time.
All right, so we'll have a vote on the nomination of Hughes as chairman and Sams as vice chairman. Roll call.
Commissioner Clement McGrath.
Nichols Sams.
No, it's either yes or no.
Sure, no, one.
Hughes the chair and Sams the vice chair.
No.
Commissioner Laura Nichols Sams.
No.
Commissioner Raymond Williams.
Yes.
Commissioner David Hughes.
Yes.
Commissioner Pedro K. Williams.
No.
You have 3 voting nay, 2 voting yea.
All right, so the motion is lost. So we'll take up the next motion of Commissioner Laura Sams as chair and David Hughes as vice chair. Roll call.
Commissioner Clement McGrath.
Yes.
Commissioner Laura Nichols Sams.
Yes.
Commissioner Raymond Williams.
Yes.
Commissioner David Hughes.
Yes.
Commissioner Pedro K. Williams.
Yes.
5 voting yea. Commission passed.
All right, thank
Motion
you.
passed.
Motion passes. Congratulations to both Laura Nichols Sam and David Hughes for your election. Wish you well in 2026.
Thank you.
You know? All right, we'll move on to item number 3, the consent agenda. Based on a motion or an inquiry by council for the ferry services that, she wanted to put some objections on the record. I'm suggesting that we amend the consent agenda to remove, docket 691, and we'll take that up next separately to allow, Attorney Maria Hodge to put her objections on the record and then get a response if appropriate from, the hearing examiner on that matter. So for now, we'll have the consent agenda for docket 556, 589, and 669. Is there a motion or consent?
So moved to accept the consent agenda.
All right, it's been moved by Commissioner Raymond Williams and seconded by Commissioner McGrath. Roll call.
Commissioner Clement McGrath,
Yes.
Commissioner Laura Nichols Sam,
Yes.
Commissioner Raymond Williams,
Yes. Yes, sorry.
Commissioner David Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Pedro K. Williams.
Yes,
Motion passed.
thank you. Is Attorney Maria Hodge on the line?
Yes, sir.
Is Mr. Jed John Hope on the line?
Yes, sir.
Good morning to you both. Attorney Hodge, you're recognized for your objection to the rate investigation. What do you call it? Assessments, yeah, thanks.
Thank you, Mr.
Indicated
Chair.
you wanted to be heard on that matter.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Maria Tankinson Hodge for the St. John Ferryboat franchisees, Varlac Ventures and Transportation Services. The nature of the objection is that the assessment is made under the provisions of Title 30 Virgin Islands Code Section 25 in accordance with your various orders previously entered in this docket, imposing assessments for the cost of this investigation. And that section of the code fixes a maximum amount of assessments for any such investigation at an amount not to exceed 0.1% of the net investment of the company being investigated. In this case, the assessments to date in this docket since June of 2025 are $22,000, $7,500 to each of the companies, and $7,050 to each of the companies. So a total of $51,000 to date. The net investment of these two companies
The floor then.
by the reviles two companies as shown in their recent.
Hold on. Attorney Hodge, you have to repeat.
Yeah.
The last thing we heard was the total assessment so far is $51,000 today.
Yes, correct. And what I'm saying now to the commission is that the net investment of these two companies shown by their recently pre-filed testimony in this docket is an amount that would suggest that these assessments already exceed the maximum allowed by law. Our records indicate, and the testimony filed with the hearing examiner indicates that Transportation Services has a net investment of $1,155,000, and Varlac Ventures has a net investment of $2,660,000. And applying the 0.5% limit to those figures, the maximum amount that could be assessed to these companies would be a maximum of $13,300 to Varlac Ventures and $5,775 to Transportation Services. I believe those amounts have already been exceeded, and certainly the new very substantial assessment would grossly exceed the maximum allowed under that section of the code. So we submit that this would not be a proper addition to the assessments in this docket.
And if in fact you're correct, how would you propose that this rate investigation be conducted and paid for, notwithstanding what the code provides as you allege?
Well, I mean, there are two comments I would make, Mr. Chairman. It does seem that the expenses billed to date have been very substantial, but the remaining costs, to the extent the commission approved them, would have to be paid from the commission's general budget.
Any other options?
Not
Mr.
legal.
Chair,
Hold on, Commissioner Williams. I'm sorry?
There are no other statutorily legal options that I'm aware of, sir.
All right. Is there anything else that you want to submit?
That's my presentation. I would hear any response and ask for an opportunity to reply.
Very well.
Mr. Chair,
Let's start it. Hold on. Commissioner Williams, go ahead.
all right, so several questions. Okay, I hear what Attorney Hodge is saying. When is the last time the commission received any audited reports from either of the ferry services? Number one, how the numbers that she just put on record, who is to determine that those numbers are accurate? Those are my two questions. And I don't know, Director Satori, if you have any answers to either of those, but you know, I can put any amount of numbers out there to represent or to for my claim of what she's suggesting. So I don't know that we can even consider those numbers to be accurate. Thank you.
All right. Commissioner Hughes, do you want to be heard on that or have any questions for Attorney Hodge?
No, I would just point out that these are probably matters of points of law that Attorney Hodge is raising. I don't have any great expertise that would allow me to think about whether or not what she's saying is true. I'm not aware of these limitations in law. I'd love to hear Attorney Sprain's review and report on them. My understanding is that when we do rate investigations, those are direct expenses to the utility for whom the investigation is being run.
Commissioner Sams? Nicholas Sams?
I'd like to hear from Attorney Sprain as well, please.
Sorry.
I would just like to ask, if you can give me a specific citation where you got to 1/2 of 1%?
Are you asking me, sir?
Yes.
It is at Title 30, Section 25, the same section of the code that you use to make your assessments. And that section of the code specifically says that the amount assessed to any utility during any year may not exceed 1/2 of 1%. I'm quoting from the statute. From the statute itself, which reads after lengthy provisions, provided, quote, that the amount so assessed by the commission to any one company in any one year in any rate case shall not exceed 1/2 of 1% of the existing net investment of the company investigated, and that the amount so assessed in all other investigations shall not exceed 1/10 of 1% of the existing net investment. That statute was adopted in 1965, sir. And it's the same statute that you use and cite when you impose these assessments on the company. You'll see it cited in your assessment orders.
All right, thank you. Attorney Sprain, you want to be heard?
Responding very quickly because the objection was not provided in advance. Section 25 did say that in 1965, however, Section 25 was amended in 2001 by Act 8471, and those limitations were removed.
Could I have the act?
8471.
Council.
That language is no
8471.
longer in the statute.
Can you repeat?
I'm asking for this act that you cited.
The statute, the act that removed it is Act 8471. The current code does not include the language which you cited.
All right, so.
I don't see that in the published code, but I appreciate that information. I would request an opportunity to check that.
All right, I think it's a matter of public record, something that council should have been aware of for this objection or presentation. Having heard that, we now go back to the consent agenda for docket 691. Is there a motion?
Motion, I move that we accept the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. It's moved and seconded by Commissioner Raymond Williams, seconded by Commissioner McGrath. Roll call.
Commissioner Clement McGrath,
Yes.
Commissioner Laura Nichols Sams,
Yes.
Commissioner Raymond Williams,
Yes,
Commissioner David Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Pedro K. Williams.
Yes.
Motion has been passed.
That is. All right, thank you. We'll now move to item number 4, outstanding assessment, annual assessment. Who speaks to that?
That will be me. Good morning.
Let's put your name on the record, please.
Mark Corey, Assistant Accounts Maintenance Officer. I provided each and everyone with a report. Everyone has a copy for it. Annual assessment. One was already emailed to you. Ms. Corey, you may have to speak up.
To speak up so it's important, Haley.
Can you hear me now?
So this room.
much better now.
Use your home voice.
So at the top of the report, we have what we have received to date. That would be for the assessment for WAPA, Vitaco, Innovative, St. Thomas, St. John, Innovative, St. Croix, Barlock Ventures, Transportation Services, and Waste Management Authority. What we currently have outstanding for WAPA are the annual assessments for fiscal year 2024, 2025. The amount for 2024 will be $1,166,314.14. And the outstanding amount for fiscal year 2025 will be $1,513,572.74. Following waste management as well, the outstanding annual assessments for fiscal year 21, fiscal year 2022, fiscal year 2023, and fiscal year 2024. The amounts for fiscal 2021 was $215,433.45. Fiscal year 2022 is $317,739.28. Fiscal year 2023 will be $362,897.58. And finally, fiscal year 2024, $449,199.83. There's also an outstanding amount for fiscal year 25, and the total for each and every one of them combined will be $1,656,495.42.
All right, thank you. Any
The amount
Check.
outstanding for, excuse me, sorry, the amount outstanding for fiscal year 2025 for the Waste Management Authority is $311,225.28.
Thank you, Ms. Corey. Any questions from the commissioners?
No.
Their motion? Do you need one?
Does Waste Management have a check?
You want the box?
A check? No conversation.
Conversation.
I'll get to it. Is there a motion?
Motion to accept. So motion to accept the report as given.
Second.
Motion is made to accept the report on the annual assessment by Commissioner McGrath, seconded by Commissioner Stamps. Roll call.
Commissioner Clement McGrath,
Yes.
Commissioner Laura Nichols Sams,
Yes.
Commissioner Raymond Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner David Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Pedro K. Williams.
Yes.
Motion moved to accept outstanding annual assessment report.
Docket specific assessment?
That will be me again, Tamar Corey, I've also provided you a copy of that. Make sure we all have a copy to follow. Outstanding docket specifics are as follows. Docket number 556 for Vitelco, order number 01/2025 with order date November 4th, 2025. That amount is $3,606.95. Moving on, docket number 589 for Choice/Vitelcom, order number 02/2026 with an order date of November 4th, 2025. That amount is $4,902.79. Next docket 678 for WAPA new base rate case for electric department, order number 12/2020 with an order date of December 16, 2019. That amount is $84,000 flat. Docket number 692 for Clean Tech, order number 10/2024 with an order date of December 22nd, 2023. That amount is $2,140. Docket number 703 for WAPA deferred fuel balance, order number 30/2025, order date August 28, 2025. That amount is $49,091.01. Docket number 704 for Global Connections, AKA or DBA Stand Up Wireless, order number 21/2025, order date 2, which is February 11th, 2025, 6,500 flat. And lastly, docket number 706 for WAPA electric rate investigation, order number 25/2025, order date of June 10th, 2025. And that amount is $96,600. And that brings a total collectively for $246,840.75 outstanding.
Thank you. Any questions? Commissioner McGrath?
Have all of these entities been advised of their outstanding balances
Yes, they have been,
as
of December.
Any responses from them?
I don't recall seeing any responses. We did get a response back from one that was indicated that it was already paid, so we adjusted our report, and that was Ms. Clinton. I don't remember the name off the top of my head. So we scratched up on the record. No one else has responded as since.
Okay, thank you.
And they have acknowledged that they received their notice. Did you receive any acknowledgement that they received?
Not all, no. They did, I'm not sure if they sent it to Ms. Connors separately, but I am copied on those emails and I have not received any acknowledgements, but I can double check.
Yeah, I would just recommend that you follow up with them to at least get some acknowledgement, because people shift around and the person who you may have sent it to.
Yes,
may-
so we have been practicing that. We've also been making phone calls to respective individuals to ensure that they have actually received. We're trying to map out, not where we have mapped out a schedule. So if we don't hear by them within a certain amount of weeks, we're going to reach out again and follow up with a phone call as well.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Maybe I would suggest that maybe you send them monthly assessments.
Yeah, yes,
On paper.
yes. You do.
Motion,
Yes, we do.
the motion,
Motion that we accept the docket specific assessments.
second. It's been moved and seconded. Roll call.
Commissioner Clement McGrath,
Yes.
Commissioner Laura Nichols Sams.
Yes.
Commissioner Raymond Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner David Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Pedro K. Williams.
Yes.
Oh, this is awesome.
Motion approved to approve the docket specific assessment report.
Thank you. We're moving to item number 5, St. John Ferry. St. John Franchise Ferry Boat Matters, docket 691. Gonna hear from the hearing examiner's interim report, Mr. John Hope.
Hi, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for taking the time this morning to allow us to speak. Wanted to just give a quick update on the project. Everything has been going well. We have moved through kind of the pre-hearing phase of the project, and we are motioning towards the hearings on February 2nd and February 3rd. We hit a few delays, procedural delays associated with the ferry companies. They were a little late, just kind of responded to some correspondence, and that provided some difficulty for us getting things scheduled. But we were able to storm through those. We had a site visit with them in late November. We also hit a few payment delays as well that caused a small, pause on the project. But things are moving forward, and we hope to wrap things up after the public hearings in early February. We have a couple meetings after that, but we hope to wrap things up by the end of March.
Thank you, sir.
See him?
Mr. John Hope, can you put on a camera?
Yes, I can. Good morning.
Hi, how are you?
Any questions?
Any questions? Commissioner Raymond Williams?
Mr. Yeah, true.
Oh, he's not there. Commissioner Hughes?
Yeah, just curious. With respect to just the flow of information, Mr. John Hope, are you now getting a full flow of financial information and what's necessary to kind of complete the accounting calculations for this?
Yes and no. I mean, at this point, we're prepared to move forward. We've requested information. A lot of what we got was partial. And after several attempts, we've just made the decision that this is what we're going to get and to move forward with it as is. So at this point, no additional requests for information are going to be made.
Any other questions?
Yes.
From Commissioner Hughes?
None for me, Chair. Thank you.
Mr. Sims?
Seeing that, Mr. John Hope, considering that you only received partial information, do you feel that's sufficient?
At this point, without kind of belaboring the point too much, I think that what we have is sufficient to proceed. We can draw our conclusions based on what's provided. There was ample time given to respond to the inquiries, and at this point, I think it's best in the best interest of all parties to move forward.
Did you inquire with the companies why you didn't receive all the information you requested?
Not on a point-by-point basis. Not on a point-by-point basis.
Mr. John Hope, it might be useful for you to describe what the exercise is going to be for the commission. We're not entirely certain what it is that you're doing with the ferry companies. Maybe you could just describe what conclusions you're trying to draw from the information.
Hold on. Before you do that, we're going in order here. Commissioner Sims asked a question. Do you have any more questions?
No, I like what Commissioner Hughes just said, so if you can kind of follow that lead, that'd be great. Thank you.
He's kind of on it, so.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Hold on. I'm gonna go to Commissioner McGrath, and then you can respond to that question after Commissioner McGrath is finished.
Just one question. Does moving forward mean that you're estimating? Since you haven't had all the numbers provided?
No, we will not be estimating. We'll be drawing logical conclusions based on what's been provided.
which means estimated.
I disagree, but
Okay, hold on. All right, so you can respond to Commissioner Hughes's inquiry and then we'll go to Commissioner Joseph.
yeah, so as hearing examiner, my role is to be the administrative judge. The ferry companies have requested a rate increase, and my role is to take a look at all of the information on both sides. From the ferry companies, the data that they provided, the law behind of it, as well as the comments coming in from the community, and everyone involved in the process, and decide whether, and make a recommendation on whether the fare increase is justified.
All right, Senator Joseph, do you have any questions?
Yes, I do. And a pleasant good morning to you, Mr.
Good
John
morning.
Hope,
Good
and Happy New Year.
Happy
I
New Year.
wanted to ask you, because I do have a little bit of concern regarding the, looking at how we are processing these increases. And do you think that, based on the information that you have been supplied thus far, that you can make a good faith recommendation to the commission and do a good faith analysis?
Yes, I do. I believe that with the information provided thus far, we can make a sound recommendation to the commission.
Okay, and what is your time frame to provide that information to the commission?
We will have the study wrapped up, I would say, by the end of March, so you should have your information by your April meeting.
Right, thank you.
Senator Frederick, you still on? You have any questions? Is he on?
Yes, he is.
Senator Frederick, do you have any questions? If not, Raymond, we had called for you earlier, you were out. Do you have any questions for Mr. John Hope?
I didn't hear the conversation. Unfortunately, I had to step out. But procedurally, I have a question on the attorney for the ferries, on her whatever, hold on, what is it she's trying to do? Her opposition to the payment. Did we dispose of that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, all right, no, okay, thank you, no problem.
All right. I thank you, Mr. John Hope, for your work and your service. We appreciate it.
Thank
And
you.
we'll move to the next stage. I believe that'll be the hearings on February 2nd and 3rd, I believe. Thank you. We now move to item number 6, waste management matters, docket 708. Petition for waste collection management disposal fee. We'll invite the executive director, Mr. Hannibal Ware. And
Sheena Sanderson, our head of solid waste.
okay, we're gonna actually go to raise your right hands to be sworn.
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Happy God. Please state your name for the record and you may proceed with your presentation.
Hi, my name is Hannibal Mike Ware. I am the executive director of the Waste Management Authority. And as you guys are well aware, I am relatively new to the position, but not new to the issue. So I'm in the process, or we are in the process right now of getting our financial house in order. It has not been. Recently instituted the septage fees that you approved 8 years ago at town hall meetings on in both districts with the septage haulers, not a single objection from any of them. So we started January 1 with the collection of those fees. Now we are before you with the solid waste fees. And I spoke to Director Satori before in telling her that we are in the process of having analysis, a different analysis conducted. So I have the requisite data to provide a fee that makes sense. And that's where we are on that currently. We also taking a look at a comprehensive waste management plan that includes recycling options and waste to energy solutions in a way that considers the waste tonnage that we actually have. We will be meeting, we have met with AST, and we are set up to have a meeting with the AST again coming forward. It was December, just last month, that we started talking again about these meetings. But I'm here to take whatever questions you have.
All right. Is there a staff report on this matter?
No.
No, not your staff, our staff.
Like, wait, what is that? Okay.
No, we had not had enough communications over the last couple of weeks to provide additional information. We look forward to participating or being invited to hear what goes on in those meetings or participate if that's useful to Waste Management and AST.
You said no.
We understand.
No, I'm teasing.
All right, are there any questions from the commissioners? Commissioner Williams?
Yes, good morning. Again, I know I heard the executive director speak to the waste to energy concept. I may be premature in asking, but just out of curiosity, can you share any additional information on that at this time? Or is that something still in development?
That's something still in development, mainly because what we have with AST is that's one island, right? Correcting, and we're scheduled to meet in the upcoming week or so to go over the specifics of what is being the waste service agreement. There's some questions that Mr. Livingston and I will hash out at that time. But I don't really have anything more specific at this time.
So again, just following up, not necessarily waste energy, but in the consideration of, I recently was somewhat forced to drive by the site in Concordia West. In the interim, or Concordia West and Montbijou specifically, I know the one at Peter's West, I use that all the time, but specifically to Concordia West and Montbijou, with the disposal process, waste oil, cooking oil, I don't know who's responsible for those sites, but what has been some of the thoughts or talking points that you and your team have been discussing, things like enforcement, and better communications and education with our community at large, because we're in the territory, and I'm gonna say it straight up because that's how I should. We nasty, okay, and who ain't like it, tell them you know what to do. But what has been some of your thoughts, and where are you looking down the road at, number one, educating enforcement, and I know you're developing a comprehensive plan that you just spoke to, but immediately, what are some of the things that Waste Management under your tutelage and leadership thus far have considered in trying to stymie some of what is happening? Because it is horrible. I mean, it is horrible to see tires and waste oil, cooking oil and all these things that's being thrown all over the place. What are some of your thoughts on that?
Thank you for the questions. Just making sure that's not a tie to the waste to energy discussion, correct? This is a different discussion.
That's a different discussion.
Okay. Okay. Well, in that regard, we have 3 convenience centers about to be kicked off. The entire engineering is done for Concordia, for Montbijou, and for Cotton Valley. We're awaiting the approval of the remediation plans for all 3 areas in order to for me to dig a shovel in the ground to start construction, which we estimate would take 4 months. So a total cleanup of those 3 areas will be being undertaken shortly. And you will have new convenience centers similar to the one that's in Mandel here in St. Thomas, similar to the one that's in Peter's Rest on St. Croix. That should alleviate much of that, of those issues. I am in conversations with WAPA right now about providing us power sources now, before the 4 months, to better monitor and police the areas. You will see within the next 30 days, even though we're waiting for construction at Cotton Valley, you will see temporary fencing erected, cameras placed, and enforcement presence that is greater than you have seen in the past. So those are the plans that we have for those areas.
All right, thank you very much. And you mentioned on the
Also, I'd like to point out, like, because you know, you're not the only one that have these concerns. And I'll give you Cotton Valley as an example, right? I would have pictures from my folks, because I'd be like, wait, what is going on in Cotton Valley, right? And they'll have pictures. The pictures will come in. The place is spotless. I get a call the next day from a senator with pictures. This place is a disaster. What's going on? I say, hey, look, if you call tomorrow, it'll be clean. It's getting clean like all the time, right? But the level of illegal dumping in the territory is insane. And we have ramped up our enforcement presence. Have authorized the hire of an additional 2. And I mean, that's how I could barely afford that, to be quite honest. But the enforcement presence will be up.
all right, great. Thank you for that. You were speaking to the tipping fees. Did I hear you correctly to suggest that tipping fees just started to be collected, or no?
No, not the tipping fees, the septic fees.
Oh,
So
septic, okay. Thank you for the clarification. I got me hearing it, that's forgive me. But thank you anyway. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Hughes,
I have no questions. Thank you.
Commissioner Sams,
Hi, thank you. What's the procedure if, say, like Cotton Valley where Raymond was talking about? I'm not familiar because I'm not from the area. But what is the procedure if, like, your enforcement leg actually finds somebody, they catch them and they've been dumping illegally? Like, say they have some restaurant or whatever that has gallon jugs of oil and they're trying to go to this site, like, what happens after that?
Well,
If they're caught?
Sure, both, I like to point out that both.
I just want to add one more thing. Do you have video, do you have like kind of video footage or something that, you know, like maybe you could catch somebody's license plate if it's after hours?
Yes, we have license plate readers and what's not. If you're caught, you get $1,000 fine.
Okay.
It's in the code, it's mandatory. You get a $1,000 fine and we go to court over it. And
so they simply write, like your enforcement leg, they will just write a ticket for this person. Okay.
They actually have full law enforcement powers.
Okay.
Yeah, they're not just like, you know, flashlight.
Have you caught anybody and what's the reaction been like? Has there been any issues?
We've issued
that
numerous fines. I'm talking like in the thousands, right? You go to court over it, and in many instances, the judge will generally cut down the amount, which is the end of the day with me. We have done the job that we have. We have, but this happens. I mean, people, I'll give you, glad you brought up. We had a recent situation in St. John where I can't remember which news outlet contacted us about a person, a citizen, going and allegedly dropping a bag of trash on the outside of the bin site because the bins were overflowing, was the allegation. It come to us like this was the gospel truth. Fortunately, we have cameras, right? And the enforcement officer recorded the entire interaction, and it wasn't like that at all. So he got
recorded audio or video?
Video and audio.
Like,
So we have the full thing that showed what the real interaction was, which was the bin wasn't overflowing. It was a fan, a ceiling fan that they brought there, threw it on the side. The enforcement officer was on site, didn't start with, here's your ticket, started with, hey, this is not the appropriate place to put this. You cannot just throw it there. You have to go to the transfer station. The guy said, I don't have any time for this nonsense. I'm late for work. Right? So got the ticket. And that's what we deal with. So normally you're gonna have people going to the media saying certain things, but fortunately we do have cameras.
That's interesting, and I'm glad you brought up the St. John issue. One of the things that you may want to think about, like maybe some kind of notification for people to take things like, say, maybe the ceiling fan was still operational, they just didn't need it anymore. For them to take something to like the recycling plant, which one on St. John, I'm sure there's plenty on St. Thomas. Do some PR to let people know that if you get these items, please take them to this place so they can be reused. But yeah, that's a great idea. Thank you very much. That's all I have.
Is it my best?
Yes, the police department has recently, or is in the process of implementing electronic ticketing. Have you checked that? Have you looked into that?
I have not. This is my first time hearing about it. Electronic ticketing. Oh, they're gonna take it from they have certain sites.
Ticket and it goes straight to the court.
Oh,
They don't have to issue paper and all that.
not quite.
Which means if the person is not there, you can still get the ticket.
Yeah.
You know, they leave the scene of. incident. You may want to look into that. The solid waste management fees that you're looking to implement, who would it be assessed against?
Excuse me, what do you mean the fees? What fees you referring to?
Solid waste management?
Oh, this is for residential trash pickup and collection.
But residential is not all over the island.
Residential is definitely all over the island, which is a common, a different way to look at it. And I've had this discussion with many people on the streets who are attacking me for fees already. By the way, go to Miracle on Main Street, you don't even know what the fee is, dead on arrival. Anyway, but whether I come to your door or not, because clearly on St. Thomas, there's many places we're not gonna be able to pick up the trash. Like my driveway, for example, there ain't no trash collector coming, right? But right down the road, there's a bin that we pay in to a site to clean up and to remove that and to take it to the proper place, which is a landfill. So there's still a cost associated with trash collection on the residential side.
So you would go on what, your land tax bill or property tax?
I'm not ready to present that just yet. That's what we're doing the study for.
Okay. Senator Zerlo.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. A pleasant good day to you. Mr. Ware, Executive Director, and of course, Ms. Anderson, Director of Solid Waste. Correct. And also your team joining us from the St. Croix District. I see your CFO is present, Mr. Horace Griffith. Good day, Happy New Year to all of you. My line of questioning is going to be very clear with this solid waste disposal fee that you are proposing. How far out are you with your assessment? You said you have to do an assessment. And how far out do you put yourself to get that assessment done before you look at implementing?
I promised Director Satori that be ready by the February meeting. That's not gonna happen, Director Satori, let me explain.
Just be realistic.
No, the reason is because I've turnover of the only lawyer that I had has left, right? Which threw me in a little bit of a lurch. So working those things through on the legal side, taking me a little bit longer than I would like. However, this would have to be, well, first of all, we have to get approved, right? I'm gonna have something before you that's fully thought out and everything else to make my ask. And then you have to do your part of it. And then I have to communicate it to the public. And as of right now, all that's part of the assessment, by the way.
I
The
know.
time, the timeline for when it could possibly be implemented, how long you should be communicating this, everything like that. Believe it or not, there are actually people out there who do this for a living in terms of developing the fee structure for waste management authorities.
So again, you said all of that to say, answer what part of my question? Because I didn't hear.
What you want, a specific date is what you're asking?
Yeah, I'm looking at your projected date, to get this, look at as far as getting the recommendation to PSC and doing your homework and everything.
Oh, you just want to know my part, the recommendation to the PSC, I have the recommendation to the PSC, hopefully within 60 days.
60 days, okay, and so that would put us in March?
60 days.
60 days in
Yeah.
March, okay, so by the March meeting, that's what you're saying?
Hopefully, and like I said, I don't have a lawyer.
Oh, okay, but you
Right.
can always contract a lawyer. You see, how I look at things is
I
different,
definitely can.
especially in your position. Even though you may not have a lawyer here, we have lawyers here, right? Or even abroad that you can contact. And you said in your own words, there are people who do this for a living, get in contact with those human beings and get it done. That's me. That's what I'm just thinking. We always have to find a way to make it happen.
Okay,
And so you need the money, allow me. You need the money because the legislature appropriates money to you, okay? And we need to have that campaign. For me, I don't want to sound testy. I don't want the excuses no more. For me, just get it done so that we could move forward and put out the campaign. So because the legislature has other things that they need to get done with funding that we give to the Waste Management Authority. Where you are a semi-autonomous body, you are responsible for generating your own money to pay for your costs, your operational costs. So we want you to do that. We want you to do that, okay? So, and I know you're capable of doing that. I know you and your team are capable of doing that. So I'm gonna hold you to it. I'm gonna take some notes and hold you to it. 60 days. 60 days. Okay, and I know you have the capacity with your team to get it done. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Senator Frederick.
Still there.
Is he there?
Yes. Keep on.
Dr. Frederick, do you have any questions?
He's there.
No. All right, hearing none. All right, thank you, Director Ware. We now move to docket 650. Any thoughts or comments on that? Solid waste tipping fees.
I believe this item was put on the agenda at the request of commission staff. We'd seen the public notices about public hearings. The solid waste tipping fees were approved again about 8 years ago. And there has been a schedule where those fees have been increased annually to get them up near the level where they should be. Because we didn't want to, the initial process 8 years ago was that we didn't want to leap to a real cost recovery because that would encourage too much illegal dumping. So instead, the fees were ramped up over time to make it an easier process. And once again, this year, Waste Management did public notices regarding the process. We just wanted to make an opportunity if there were any comments or issues regarding that process to be on the agenda.
There's been no issue except for this is something completely different. This has actually been instituted. The only thing I point out is that the tonnage has decreased significantly, although the cost has gone up. So maybe there might be a correlation between the two relative to illegal dumping and the fees. But that's not something we know for certain, right? But it's been implemented.
Okay.
I have a A question, point of information.
Sure, go ahead.
Do you see any, because you are making correlation between the reduction in the tonnage to the amount of illegal dumping that you're seeing? Do you see a need for any of the penalties? Because you seem to be putting in a really great system to hold people accountable for illegal dumping. Do you see a need to increase those penalties so that people don't dump illegally?
Actually, I don't.
Or you think they're gonna dump any place within the island where you don't have eyes to see?
So
That may happen.
I don't necessarily feel the fee should be increased, right? It's $1,000 fee as it is already. I think that our educational efforts need to be ramped up, which is what we are ready to roll out with that right now. We have our educational plan that we put now. I feel that the enforcement efforts need to be ramped up. And I think that that's now instituted.
Right.
So let's see what comes out of it before we do anything else.
And what about the illegal dumping fees? Are you comfortable with that amount?
Yeah, that's when you would get $1,000 fine.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
Should that amount be increased for commercial dumping?
So
Illegal?
let me explain how tricky that is. And should it be increased? I think it should need to be enforced. I don't know how much more we have with the $1,000, but I could tell you from what I hear from my enforcement officers, you ain't gonna see the owner generally of a commercial establishment actually doing it, right?
They hire truckers.
Right, but we're in at the restaurant, this has been ramped up from November. Going in educational efforts, telling them that we coming back and we checking your agreements with the trash haulers, the oil collection places, we checking your agreements. If you don't have an agreement, then it's gonna be a fine, because where is it being disposed of? But we gave them some time to get their act together in terms of an educational effort before we just go out there heavy-handed with the enforcement. And that time is about up.
But if I may miss, I'm sorry. Sorry, Commissioner. But aren't these businesses, established businesses that already know this? Aren't they, don't, you see, they already know, they've been in the business for a while, they know. I think if it's a new business, I could say, yeah, you're new, but lawyers have this saying in the court, ignorance of the law is no excuse. I'm being a bit hard because I just don't see why, we continue to give persons a break and we're not moving forward to be able to collect. And they take advantage of us. They take advantage of shifts in leadership when you have transitions and the like. So I appreciate you are empathetic and you have a good heart, and you and your team.
Not necessarily if I could respond. It's just a 30-day educational effort before moving in. And I'm glad you said that. And hopefully we could get the support of others like you, because what happens when them fines go out, we receive those calls. When the constituent contact members of the Senate like yourself and everybody else, you call in to say, hey, was there an educational effort? Was there this, that, and the other? And I mean, from my perspective, I'm not pulling back a fine.
You're not pulling back any?
I'm not gonna pull back a fine.
Not even when the legislature calls you?
Definitely not.
Good job, good job, good job.
Right? So, but I appreciate the support.
Yes, when do you anticipate accepting green waste again?
Now I'm happy for these questions, man. This give me a great opportunity here. In terms of green waste, we accept green waste on St. Croix and St. John, right? We can't accept it here. There is a law, and hopefully we're getting some help with the legislature in removing this law that prohibits us from burning disaster waste, right?
Yes, I remember that.
We're trying to walk through these things so that we have room within the landfill to accept it. But until that happens, we are prohibited from doing what we need to do to create the space to take it.
You have a senator here, but I would like to add though, that what this is contributing to is that a lot of homeowners are keeping all of this material on their property. The waste is drying and it becomes a fire hazard
I recognize that.
to homeowners. And I think we really need to address this problem.
We also looking at a couple of incinerators that should be here in the upcoming months or so. That would help us with it in terms of getting the things burned. It's supposed to be a much safer way to dispose of the items. So it's something that we are aware of, something that we're moving on. We kind of need some help.
What about machines for mulching the green waste, burning, chewing it up?
But we have mulching equipment, right? But we don't have even the mulching gonna take up space. We don't have enough takers for the mulch to make that level of a significant dent in what we have happening.
Thank you.
I just have,
Attorney Smith?
I had one question regarding the fines that are imposed. Do the fines go to the court, to the general fund, or do you receive in waste management the fines when those are imposed?
Now I go to come to us.
They do come to you?
No, well,
Not,
What was the response?
I'd like to how about my CFO answer that question?
Hi, good day, everyone.
Okay,
Darryl
hold on. You have to raise your right hand to be sworn, sir.
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Please state your name and you can respond to the question as to where do the proceeds from the fine go.
Darryl Griffith, CFO, Waste Management Authority. The proceeds of the fine unfortunately goes to the court first.
Where do they
And
go to
then-
second?
And then later on, the court puts it together and in time sends it to Waste Management, but it takes time though.
Okay.
I can't even give you an estimate on the time frame on which we did it.
So the answer to the question is Waste Management gets the fees, correct?
Eventually,
So the answer to the question is Waste Management get the fees, correct? It's yes or no?
yes.
Thank you.
Does it go into a special fund?
I have a question. So the fees go directly to the court.
Is it
At that point, do the courts deduct court costs or anything and then submit it to Waste Management? How does that work?
I haven't seen I've never seen a statement from them showing that it's court costs are being deducted. No, ma'am.
So if someone pays $1,000 fee or fine, it'll go to the court and you guys end up getting that $1,000 fine, full $1,000 fine.
Eventually, yes, ma'am.
Have you seen it actually work that way? I'm just curious. Have you actually seen that work or is this too early to tell?
It's it comes so sporadically that there is no rhyme or reason that I can offer to you guys to tell you like we get it every quarter or we get it every 6 months. I would be making it up if I gave you an assessment like that.
The gist of the question is you have received funds from the court, correct?
Correct.
Good.
Now $20.
Question.
In full is my question.
Does the funds go into your operating funds or is it going to a special fund?
It goes into operating funds.
Commissioner Williams, you had some questions?
That's all $20 that they receive.
I'm sorry?
Yeah,
Can you repeat
I said all
that?
$20 that they receive after they go through all of that bunch of stuff.
Do you have any additional questions?
That wasn't a question, that was a statement, Mr. Chair.
Can't give them the special.
Do you have any questions?
And then you
I do that. I did, I'd say so.
Thank you. We'll now move to docket 692, Advanced Sustainable Technologies Limited.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, Commissioners, Directors. Very happy New Year to you. I'm joined with the CEO of AST Cleantech, Dan Levine, and myself, Jason Levescon.
But ask you to raise your right hands to be sworn.
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Please state your name for the record and you may proceed.
Jason Levescon. So on the status of the Virgin Island Waste Management Authority Services Supply Agreement, we provided the agreement in mid-October of 2025. Understand Mr. Ware was just getting situated in his role. So it's pleasing to hear that we can have a follow-up regarding that. I heard a meeting is going to be set here shortly, which is great. We withheld supplying the land lease agreement until this year. So that copy draft has now been sent. So perhaps we can have a joint discussion around both documents and get this across the finish line. We continue to be with our funding in place. So nothing has effectively changed in terms of our ability to execute the project with the financiers that we have that are backing us. Again, there is no tipping fees in our model. We only generate revenue through sales of power, which is for the next discussion coming up with the WAPA group.
All right, thank you, sir. Any questions, Commissioner Williams?
No.
Mr. Hughes?
Yeah, one question. Your testimony is your only point of revenue is the WAPA power purchase agreement.
Right.
Clearly not going to cover an installation of this nature. How else? I'm still trying to wrap my head around your business model a little bit. Could you comment on the other aspects of your business model that allow this to be a profitable venture for? There has to be something else.
Yeah, so operating revenues are generated by sales of power to the grid. Indirect revenues are generated through tax credits within the Inflation Reduction Act, and also carbon credits on the front end and the back end of the process. And that essentially, and I believe last year we shared with you, Commissioner Hughes, the very high level financial model that basically makes St. John better than break-even business. And this was not the idea that anyone was going to make significant profits out of the St. John project. This is basically the scaled, let's call it the operational prototype before we scale up to St. John and St. Thomas and St. Croix.
So one of the considerations of the PSC is that you be financially viable. We're really not supposed to get too far into the weeds beyond, when we introduce and sponsor projects like this. Could you? I don't recall the financial disclosure. If you were just to roughly estimate in your operating model, what percentage of your total receipts would be operating revenue versus tax credits and other forms of government assistance?
I don't have it in front of me, but maybe Dan, if you're able to comment on that. I'd say it's approximately 50-50, but we can certainly get you a clearer answer.
Thank you. Thanks, Chair.
Mr. Sam?
I do have a question. Thank you very much. So when we had our commission meeting in June, Mr. Levin that works for your company was present at the meeting. He instructed us that this project was going to be built in Florida and tested and then brought to St. John. But in the recent, I guess the last meeting or one before that, maybe October, we were told that it was gonna be built and tested in St. John and not in Florida. So I don't know which is true right now. You can address that.
Sure, I don't know where the latter part of the understanding came from, but it's still the intention to demonstrate the capability of the technology in South Florida and then transpose it to St. John.
Okay, that was one thing that.
And that would be the technology, obviously, the building itself and all the ancillary equipment, which is essentially off-the-shelf stuff. You know, we're not exactly sort of dismantling an entire building and moving it to St. John. It's just the technology that we're demonstrating in South Florida.
So it's just the technology that's gonna be demonstrated in Florida.
Yeah.
But the whole
Plan would be constructed.
in St. John. All right, I need to think about that. Thank you very much.
Commissioner McGrath? I thank you very much for your presentation. I will look forward to all the follow-ups of this issue. Thank you, members of the Planning Authority.
Thank you.
The next move to item number 7, energy matters. Dr.
I'm sorry.
This is the area we.
Yeah, for that energy, thank
We
you.
need to hear from them again on board. We hearing from WAPA on this?
I'm sorry.
We have docket 69220.
Yeah.
Really, when they come up, we can discuss it briefly, but
This weekend.
the AST
All right,
issue.
hold on. So, Mr. Knight, members of your team, we're ready for you.
What item on the agenda are we on, Mr. Chairman?
7.
AST, but we're gonna move through that very quickly, I hope.
I was only prepared to speak to docket 702, but we've certainly
I'm
joined.
gonna address AST.
Okay, no problem, I'm coming.
She passed.
You have a copy.
So.
Oh, actually.
Can I have some?
No problem. Go on.
I don't know why I didn't think to print it. Thank
No
you very
problem.
much.
Would you like a printer?
All right, WAPA is indicated they're not prepared to discuss docket 692, is that correct? So what you said, Mr. Knight?
I could briefly.
About AST.
When I looked at the agenda, good morning, everyone. When I looked at the agenda, I didn't see a report from WAPA for docket 692. So that's my error. I apologize. I only noted docket 702 that called for a report. But if there are questions, I certainly will avail myself to respond to those questions.
All right, thank you for that, Attorney Strait.
AST's business model, as they indicated, includes sales of electric power as part of their revenue source for the project. We have advised AST that their sales of electricity would be subject to the Cogeneration Power Act, which limits the cost to something below WAPA's avoided costs. At the present time, I would estimate that ballpark number to be something less than 15 cents a kilowatt hour. But we have not a final number on that. It is, however, a very small percentage of WAPA's overall generation. WAPA has indicated a willingness to work with AST and Waste Management if the project moves forward. On a waste management basis, it is an amount of power that they can absorb without any true difficulty. It's just a matter of pricing and setting up the final terms. So it's really the waste management aspect of this that's driving this bus.
Thank you. Can we move on to docket 685, the electron application for sheriff designation?
don't know if Mr. Loranger is online today. We've been asking Mr. Loranger for an update on their projects for some time, and we have not received anything from Mr. Loranger at this point. Guy Electron. I don't know excuse me. I don't know if the Water and Power Authority has any comments they wish to make on this matter.
Okay, but before we do that, do we have anybody from VI Electron on the line? Okay, does Waffle desire care to comment on that item?
No, I don't care to comment on that. I'll allow Mr. Lorenzo of the election to speak to that project, but I would beg your indulgence. On the clean tech AST, I just have a quick comment. I was wrestling with myself as to what I want to put it on the record, but if I can go back.
Let's have you sworn there.
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? And nothing but the truth?
So
identify yourself.
I'm Carl Knight, the CEO, Executive Director of the Water and Power Authority. And I just, in hearing the conversation, we are prepared, Mr. Strain is absolutely correct. We are prepared to engage in a contract as long as it's below avoided costs and therefore does not create an additional burden to our ratepayers. We are certainly willing to engage in a power purchase agreement. We do have current pricing on our PPAs that sort of give us a threshold as to what we think is what the market should bear as far as the power purchase agreement. But I also want to say, in my prior experience, when my predecessor Hugo Hodge as CEO and May Cornwall as Executive Director at Waste Management, when they negotiated the last successful waste energy contract, there was a component, and I hate to say this in the absence of Mr. Ware and his team, but there was a component on the waste management side, a tipping fee that helped cover some of the capital expense. The full capitalization of the project wasn't borne by the electric utility solely. There was a balance between a tipping fee and a power purchase agreement. And so certainly when I heard the conversation earlier saying it would be financed through the PPA, if they can do that and make it work within the context of price structure that's within the avoided costs, I guess that's charity, but some joint funding of the project would probably be most advantageous to us and everybody. So I just wanted to throw that out there to the commission that looking at a tipping fee that Waste Management pays for the service of having trash disposed is not should not be off the table.
I did not mean to imply, if I may, I did not mean to imply that the power purchase agreement would fund this operation. We have wholly understood that it is a shared expense and that we have made very clear to ASD for quite some time that they should not expect the sales of electricity to cover all the costs of this transaction.
I think that's only fair to our
yes, we recognize the need to be fair to the ratepayers and to not exceed the avoided cost. Those numbers will be recognized.
Okay. Thank you. We move to item C, docket 706, Water Electric System rate case. Jenny Spring.
We wanted to advise the commission that our process for selecting a new electric consultant has moved well forward. The staff has conducted interviews with some finalists within that process. We will be providing to the commission our recommendations and ratings on those participants and a recommendation to move forward. We are going to do that on an expedited basis because we need to get this process resolved and move forward. So our request would be that this matter be continued, and we will set a special meeting to address this issue within the next couple of weeks so that we can get it done before our February meeting.
Very well. As we move to table this matter, is there any objections? Hearing none to order. Move to the last item, docket 702, Water Levelized Energy Adjustment Clause, LPG fuel supply contract. Who speaks to that?
I'll speak to that, Mr. Chair.
You may proceed.
I think the last time we provided an update, it may have been in November. At that point in time, the proposals had been received and they were going to the evaluation committee for evaluation. We have now concluded that portion of the procurement. We have ultimately, the evaluation committee has made a recommendation as to a vendor. The governing board has accepted the recommendation, and we're now in the phase of negotiating a contract with the selected vendor. For just the purpose of memorializing the full process, I'll walk you through from the beginning to where we are now. By way of background, we did have a procurement process that we engaged in May of last year. That process, the RFP was sent to those bidders. And by the way, you should all have a copy of the presentation. The same presentation was presented to our board in December. The RFP yielded on, was sent out on April 14th. It yielded 4 proposals. The lowest price proposal was 55.75 cents per gallon transportation costs. That was deemed to be insufficient progress from what we were paying at the time, which was about 56 cents for transportation costs. And so there was not a, we did not find this procurement, the first procurement, to be successful. We did attempt some direct negotiations. At some point, the decision was made by the authority to start a second full procurement. And so that's the results to which we're speaking of today. We did send out direct solicitations asking for participation to 34 different vendors. We got at the end of the deadline on October 24th, we received a response back from 5: Empire Gas Inc., St. Louis LLC, Equinor Marketing and Trading Inc., Caribbean LPG Trading Limited, and Vitol Virgin Islands Corporation. The evaluation committee convened to evaluate the proposals. The chairman of that evaluation committee was Maxwell George. The other participating members was Vernon Alexander, Noel Hodge, Kevin Smalls, Michael Dow Sr. Amongst that team, you have over 140 years of power production and engineering experience. Mr. Michael Dow brings another 40 years of banking and finance experience to that team. We also had Nicole Aubain stand in as our ex-official contract administrator, and Kiera Thomas is a member of our internal audit team, and she also was an ex-official member of the evaluation committee as well. The committee met on the 30th of October for the first, and concluded its evaluations on November 24th. They went through the requisite clarifications from the offerers and subsequently made a recommendation to the board. The evaluation criteria included experience, which was weighted at 25 points. The highest weighting was for pricing, which was weighted at 35 points, followed by experience. Technical capability was 20 points, and there was some additional criterion for financial stability, corporate social responsibility, hurricane preparedness and emergency logistics, and payment terms. That rounded out the 100-point maximum scoring for the evaluations. The respondents, just a quick synopsis. Equinor is a LPG trading company home-based in Norway, a fairly large trading company in Europe. 30 years of experience in global LPG bulk production, transportation. They have access to adequate fuel supply on the Gulf Coast. They have 15 vessels that they've said are either owned or under charter. For this purpose, they offered a price of transportation costs of 50 cents, which was 9 cents lower than our last permanent long-term contract with Vitol. We did find them to be unresponsive to our corporate social responsibility requirement, and there were some discrepancies in the proposal according to the evaluators that caused them to lose points. I am pleased that we were able to attract the attention of a large outfit like Equinor, which created a more competitive environment for our procurement. Carib LPG, they're a regional trader. They market themselves as a leading supplier of LPG with a very strong diversified portfolio. Vitol is one of their clients. They have access to fuel in Trinidad and Panama. They had very strong financial, demonstrated evidence of very strong financial capacity. Their price was 48.5 cents, which is about 10.5 cents less than what we were paying in our last permanent contract. Very responsive to the corporate social responsibility component. And they offered us payment terms that basically said, we get credit for one cargo. We don't pay for that cargo until we subscribe or nominate the second cargo. So we're always one cargo ahead as far as so. The St. Knowles is our existing terminal operator. They operate the terminals in Harley and Richmond. They position themselves as a management firm that ultimately found them to be unresponsive to certain elements of the RFP. They were offering basically to manage our fuel operation. They currently manage the terminals. They were offering essentially a turnkey, holistic approach to managing our fuel supply. But they did not necessarily have experience in the shipping and delivery of fuel. They did not necessarily have experience in bulk fuel business. Their pricing was relatively high, 70 cents for transportation costs, and then there was an additional management fee. And so while their proposal had merits, it wasn't responsive to a straight supply contract, which is what we were seeking. Their contract would have been a more comprehensive approach to managing fuel for WAPA. Vitol, of course, you know, we've had a long-standing exclusive relationship with Vitol that ended last year. They proposed a rate of 51.5 cents per gallon, which is a reduction of 8.5 cents from what they had charged us previously for the last permanent contract that we had with them. They're very responsive, including hurricane contingencies, emergency contingencies. However, they were reluctant to provide financial data. Now, we know Vitol is a large energy trader, very active globally. We did provide an out saying, hey, provide a certified letter from a CPA that just speaks to the financial strength of the company, but they were unresponsive when it came to just giving us the basics on financial stability. They were also fairly unresponsive for the corporate social responsibility requirement. They did offer us credit at $3 million, but we will speak to that in a bit. But they did offer a credit of $3 million, a line of credit of $3 million for us to draw from. The final respondent, Empire Gas, has 55 years of experience in the LPG market. They are a major LPG bulk supplier in the Caribbean. They're the number 10 provider of LPG in the country. They have storage in Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic. They're our current temporary provider. They're the ones providing us with LPG at the moment. They provided the lowest cost proposal, 47.5 cents per gallon. This is 11.5 cents less than our last permanent contract. They have a very strong financial portfolio. Maybe not as big as Vitol and some of the multinationals, but very strong financial portfolio. They were responsive to our corporate social responsibility component, offering to provide scholarship programs and training for energy management. Ultimately, the one weakness in the proposal was an insistence on prepayment for fuel. The current temporary contract that we have includes a prepayment provision. When we first went through the RFP process in April, they had offered us net 30 for as far as payment terms, but have since rescinded on that offer. And this proposal asked for prepayment. The current arrangement we have is paying 5 days in advance of the delivery of the cargo. That, of course, puts a financial strain on the authority. Their proposal scored very highly. It was very competitive with Carib LPG. They had actually a slightly lower cost, but there is a value to having some sort of credit extended. And the evaluation committee deemed that the value of Carib LPG's experience supplying our needs, as well as their willingness to extend credit to the authority, sufficient to score higher than our gas did. We do provide some comparisons just so you can see what the savings would look like at the prior VTOL contract rate. We provided some pricing analysis based on various levels of consumption of fuel. I won't bore you with all that detail. The summation of our recommendation, you don't have to go through that, but you do have the scoring sheet, so you can see how competitive the contract scoring was. And I will just wrap there by saying we are comfortable with the evaluations recommendation of Carib LPG. We are right now in the process of preparing a contract offer based on their proposal. And we look forward to consummating that relationship. Hopefully by the time we meet with the commission again, we would have been able to consummate that relationship. Our board has approved us at 48. I'm sorry. The board has approved us at 48.5 cents for transportation costs, plus the index price for the Mount Bellevue index on LPG. We do think we might be able to, there might be some wiggle room there. We'll explore that. So we might be able to negotiate a price slightly lower. We'll see what we can work out in our contract negotiations with the other party. That concludes my presentation.
That concludes the presentation. So, thank you, Mr. Knight. Questions, Commissioner Williams?
You can come back to me. Let me finish this. I second this.
Commissioner Hughes?
Yeah, I'm more a comment than anything else. I'd like to compliment Director Knight on his process and his achievement of what I think everyone could agree would appear to be the market rate. That's achievable by us in the territory. That doesn't always happen. And I'd particularly like to just throw a kudo out to his board that I know was a little more actively involved in this than they have typically been, which is a great indication that the board is involved in his management of the company. So in general, I think this is a great process, and my compliments all around.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Sounds?
Yeah, I'd like to just ditto what David just said, and thank you for the transparency. I really appreciate that. Thank you for you and your team. Thank you.
Mr. Montas?
Yes, congratulations on achieving this. I hope it reflects eventually in savings for the consumer.
Yeah.
I do want to ask, however, I noticed that they can source the fuel supply from either Houston or Trinidad and Tobago. Getting it from Trinidad and Tobago, would that impact the transportation costs any by lowering it?
So contractually, we're going to commit to a flat transportation cost, regardless of where in the world they get the fuel from, right? So we are not going to add the additional complication of varying transportation costs depending on the source port. But I would say, I imagine Trinidad would likely be, based on the experience with Carib LPG and our prior providers, Trinidad would probably be an emergency backup as opposed to the primary source of fuel. I imagine the primary source of fuel would continue to be the Gulf Coast. And I think they mentioned having terminals in Panama, maybe even Panama. But I don't think Trinidad, none of the fuel providers have ever put forward Trinidad as being their primary source of LPG for our supply. And so we've looked at several proposals now, and it's usually a secondary source of supply.
Senator Joseph?
Yes, thank you. Happy New Year to everybody. Pleasant good day. I do have a question regarding, and you mentioned it in your statement, that one of the proposals offers, Vital had offered a line of credit. And then you said you had another offer who had a lower cost for the LPG and also offered a line of credit. And I believe the other offer was Carib. Yeah, okay, so my LPG. So my question is, with this line of credit, is there interest tacked onto it, or what is any additional cost that may come up because of the line of credit that your possible offerer can provide?
Yeah, the way
Or fees, cost of fees.
the way the proposal is presented, there's no interest, and it's not presented in the Carib LPG, it's not necessarily presented as a line of credit. They basically said we'll credit one shipment at a time. So we're allowed to take on the fuel, and we don't have to pay for the fuel until we're ready for another delivery.
Okay,
So it's not a traditional line of credit, it's basically they're crediting one fuel shipment at a time.
okay. So there's no hidden cost, there are no additional costs that you will have to pay with that, because you mentioned that Empire wanted prepayment before delivery of it. So there wouldn't be anything for them or the authority to absorb.
Right, so yeah, with prepayment, so we have, with our diesel contract, we have enjoyed the blessing of once again having net 30 days with Peerless. That allows us to supply as we need to, and it gives us 30 days to structure payments to pay for that fuel. With prepayment, there has been occasions with Vital before, and now with Empire, when not so much with Empire, but with Vital before, where shipments would come in, and if we don't have the cash on hand to furnish that shipment, the tanker sits outside the harbor, and then at some point we start to actually incur demurrage on that tanker that's sitting outside the harbor. That's not advantageous to us or the customers, especially in a pinch where we need the fuel. We would like to have some time to be able to work out those issues. And so this gives us a little bit of breathing room where I can call for a shipment of fuel, and I have a period of time, in most realistically, somewhere between 10 and 15 days to come up with payment for that fuel before I need another shipment.
Okay, thank you so much for that explanation. It's very clear to me. Thank you so much.
Mr. Chair?
Commissioner Williams?
Yeah, I don't know if maybe I missed it or what, but relative to the shipment of the LPG to St. Croix, how is that, Director Knight? I don't know if you spoke to it already, but I know that was a concern in terms of costs and the draft and all that stuff. How are you going to work through that?
Yeah, so we the proposer has identified the vessel that would run the shuttle route. It's one of the vessels that was originally commissioned by Vital to do that St. Thomas St. Croix route. It has been renamed since then. But there were two vessels commissioned as part of the original Vital build out. There was the Epic Caledonia and the Epic Curacao. They've been renamed the Gas Top and the Gas Respect. Carib LPG, I think, has a charter, or I don't know if it's ownership or a charter of the Gas Respect, and they're proposed to use that vessel to make the inter-island transport. They can navigate the channels. They have done so before. They were purpose-built, and so we are not too concerned of their ability to navigate the channel. Richmond, that is.
Thank you.
And that cost has been built into their proposal. I know there have been prior conversations where that had sort of been excluded from costing. In this RFP, we made it abundantly clear that all costs, including transportation to the terminal in Richmond, had to be included as part of the pricing, and so that's factored into this cost as well.
That was my question.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. I want to echo the sentiments of my fellow commissioner in commending the authority for a job well done in this process and in this. I basically have maybe two questions. maybe a question and a comment. When was this, proposal evaluation presented to your board?
19th of December.
So that brings me to my comment, you've heard this before, of documents and presentations for the commission, being presented in a timely fashion so that we could review them, be prepared for the meeting, bringing in voluminous documents on the day of the meeting is not proper, is unacceptable. And to the extent that your board had this, at least back in December, certainly enough time for it to be presented or submitted to us for our consideration today. So again, going forward, this is a new year. I know the authority will be better in terms of presenting reports and documents to the commission, even though I may not be here to walk on that issue. Thank you very much.
My apologies, but it did get lost in the holiday shuffle, and to Mrs. Green's credit, when we met last week, he reminded me that we owed transmission of the documents. So I apologize for not getting it out.
I hear what you said.
I said it did get lost in the holiday shuffle. We were very giddy with Christmas excitement. When we met with Mr. Sprain last week, he reminded us that we had not transmitted. We had agreed to transmit it at the same time we shared with the board, and he reminded me that we had not kept our word on that end. And so I do apologize for not getting it to the commission. So that's purely our error.
Okay, I do have a question, Jess, and I'm glad you're a good attorney here. So when do you see that this new vendor is going to be actually supplying the gas, the LPG gas to the authority?
Wonderful question.
Where are you in the stage with the contract finalization?
Oh, we think, so our temporary agreement that we currently have expires on March 15th.
Right.
We expect to have a contract in place prior to the expiration of the temporary.
Okay.
So, here's the last question. So if March 15th is the expiration of the present contract, are we able to move to the new contract prior to that? Once everything has been approved?
We are exploring that. That's a very recent conversation that we've had. We did check with the vendor to make sure they would, if necessary, if asked to move sooner, if they would be prepared to do so. They have indicated affirmatively that they could consider a start date if that is something that all parties agree to.
What does the present vendor say? Are they cool with that too?
We're looking at what our contractual obligation
Okay.
are to the present vendor to make sure we don't violate our contractual obligations.
Thank you.
Has there been any discussion with FEMA about relocating the current plant on St. Croix to the South Shore for transportation purposes?
Yes, I wouldn't say it was conversations. So FEMA, as part of the prudent replacement of the Richmond power plant, the funding of the project they refer to as the prudent replacement of the power plant, has not limited the location of where that plant could be replaced. There are some practical considerations that have to be made based on the funding. So they have provided a fixed cost offer. That's the only funding they're going to provide. And so any costs incurred above that would have to be borne by the authority. So the most prudent approach to prudent replacement, there are some assets in the Richmond plant, like the propane terminal, like our storage, our diesel storage tanks. There's assets there that would not be cost effective to relocate. We don't currently own another site that is adequate to accommodate the power plant. And so while there is an opportunity that we're going to explore for a greenfield site, preferably on the South Shore of St. Croix, we are not contemplating evacuating or totally abandoning the current location at Richmond. That would be imprudent. So we may end up having generation that is at two different locations, maybe a satellite location, which is a concept that WAPA is pursuing, looking at where we can put in microgrids and alternate generation outside of our centralized power plants. That's the answer to your question.
Could you keep us updated on that?
Certainly, as we start to make those sort of decisions, certainly the commission will be part and parcel of the types of decisions that we're making, the types of engines we're putting in, and certainly that we'll be working with your consultants as we factor in new heat rates and new efficiencies. And there is going to be a robust conversation over the next couple of years as we that project really starts to pick up.
Thank you, Mr. Knight, Ms. Sinclair. You didn't say anything.
That's how she likes it.
I doubt that. Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you. Thank you for your team hard work too, the evaluation team. Thank you for their hard work.
Thank you, Pedro Williams, as a chair and also as a member.
Yeah, thank you.
Congratulations on your nomination as a judge.
Yeah.
I can't hear you, Commissioner Margaret.
I said, I wanted to thank Chairman Williams for his service to the PSC as well as a member, not just as chairman. And also to congratulate him on his nomination. That's me.
Yeah.
Please don't.
I wanna take the privilege as well.
That waste management can collect. If they find $1,000, charge them $1,000.
I wanna take the same privilege. Mr. Chair?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I wanna take the same privilege to congratulate you on your potential ascension to the courts. I must commend your leadership here for the last year or two, and I think you have judiciously utilized this this commission to, help train you into the next role. And I wish you Godspeed in your journeys. And if we happen to come to look for you, just be nice to us.
I have to recuse myself.
And I also want to.
Anyway, thank you very much for your service to the Public Services Commission.
Thank you, sir.
And I also want to congratulate you. I appreciate you being a mentor to me, and congratulations on your new grandchild.
Thank you. Thank you all. I want to take this time to thank, it's been an honor to serve on this commission. It's been a learning experience. I came on green, but had to step up to the plate. Thank you for the leadership of David Hughes and Raymond Williams in getting me up to speed to the issues facing the commission and really the issues that affect the people of the Virgin Islands. I want to thank, I still refer to them as the new commissioners, Samson McGrath. This has been a great experience. I wish the commission well. I think this is going to be my last regular meeting. I may be available for the special meeting depending on when it takes place, but I anticipate that I will formally take the bench at some point by the end of this month. So thank you and God bless.
Thank you.
For keeping us on track. Yes.
Thank you guys. Thanks for your help.
And vice chair. I wish you all well.
I don't want to talk. It's been a really great pleasure learning here with both you, Attorney Williams, and all of the commissioners, and David Hughes, and the staff here. You guys are excellent. I just want us to keep up this good work and keep on pressing on and holding the agencies that you have oversight and you regulate, holding their foot to the fire as you've been doing. I think you've been doing an outstanding job. So I really congratulate everyone. Thank you. And I'm looking forward to working with you, Chairwoman elect,
She's a
chairwoman-elect, when you are sworn in that position.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, thank you.
All right, thank you all very much. This meeting is adjourned.